What's going on, everybody? How's it going? I'm using a different camera today. It's not great. It's my old camera. I think everything's good. I'm just checking to make sure everything's live. We're okay. Good deal. Today we're going to be talking about Wild West Dynasty. The day before, and for content creators, Aitum has a vertical plugin for OBS Studio. It's not for Streamlabs OBS. It's only for OBS Studio. We're going to be talking about that a little bit at the end of the stream. Wild West Dynasty, of course, is our main focus today. Going to touch on a little bit of the other things too. Hope everybody's doing well, though. Good to see everybody in live chat. Crystal Nass, how's it going, bud? Bud Goodrow, how are you? Good to see you. Spiderette, Wickmaster, how's it going? First one in a while, it seems. Yeah, it has been a while. Yeah. Eating lunch. Excited to talk about some Wild West Dynasty. You got it, man. Get the lasso up. Let's go. Get it roped in. It comes out on the 16th of this month. Comes out next Thursday. If anybody's wondering, a week from 2 days from now. A week and 2 days, it'll be out. It'll be out, and everybody can play. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a good time for sure. Stormwrath, how's it going? Is Wild West Dynasty coming out today? No, we are talking about it, and we're gonna be watching some of the devlogs and giving our thoughts on stuff and that kind of stuff. It comes out on February 16th. I will be streaming it the moment I can get my hands on it. So if it comes out at 8 a.m., I'll be streaming it at 8 a.m. The day this releases, that day, just throw the schedule out the window. I'll be up and streaming it the moment I can stream it. I'm super excited to be playing it. So it should be a lot of fun. I hope it's going to be really good. I don't know if we're going to get Medieval Dynasty level, but I still hope it's really good. You got to think each dev studio is slightly different, even though Toplitz is the name on it. Toplitz is the production company. The developers use different engines and build differently. So, as bad as I hate to say it, I don't know if it's going to be quite Medieval Dynasty quality. I really hope it's good, though. I imagine it's going to be good. We loved Lumberjacks Dynasty and Farmers Dynasty especially. Medieval Dynasty's been fantastic, though. So I think they kind of set that bar off camera here, and they got to stick with it. So hopefully they can do that. Yeah, this cam's working. Oddly enough, this is my like 12-year-old camera right here. My face cam, the Elgato face cam. It was glitching and hanging up and wouldn't it just wouldn't get a steady picture. And then I couldn't get it to capture, and it just got really weird. So I just plugged my old one back in. So I'm using my old camera today, but hopefully I can get my Elgato face cam working again. I don't know why, but Stormwraith doing well. Yeah, I hope you are too. Game Reflections, what's up? How's it going? Mama Java, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you. Euphoria, how are you? Angela, 5 a.m. and I'm here. Wow. That's early. That's early. That's very early. Voltage, how's it going? Good to see you. For everybody watching, if you want to skip ahead, well, I mean, it probably doesn't matter now. I'll just put a start time. I'll just do my tags at the bottom or something. It's too early to be up. It really is. Does that make the player a cowboy, a cowgirl? Probably just a cowboy. And I say that, and I know that everybody wants to be able to play as male and female. I think this thing's loose or something. I know everybody wants to be able to play as male and female, but the amount of resources and money it takes to put all that together is a little bit more than some small studios have. So don't hate them for just having, just a male character. Don't hate them for that. Moon Punch Studios, developer for Wild West Dynasty. Render Cube's developer for Medieval Dynasty. Yes. And Toplitz and UMEO did Farmers Dynasty, and I think just Toplitz did Lumberjacks Dynasty. So keep that in mind. Like it's gone from in-house production company / some help on Farmers Dynasty to in-house for Lumberjack Dynasty to having Render Cube do Medieval Dynasty, and Render Cube's done a lot of games. They're really big, or they're not really big, but they're big enough. And then Super Kame Games, I had to think for a minute. I'm sitting there looking at Steam like it's gonna pop up and tell me what it is. It will if you click on it, but not without clicking on it. Super Kame Games is doing Sengoku Dynasty, and then we have Moon Punch Studio. Originally, it's supposed to be Virtual Magic Games, and Virtual Magic Games has done several games on Steam. I don't know who Moon Punch Studio is. I have no idea who that is. So I couldn't find anything else they've done. Hopefully it turns out good. That's all I can say. maybe. I don't know. What's up, Bob? How's it going, buddy? On the 16th, is it early access or full release? You know it's going to be early access. When Steam let everybody release in early access, everybody's just putting their game out there now to keep the funding going, to make, you know, to be able to complete the process. So, you know it's going to be early access, which will be fun. We'll be playing it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Sengoku Dynasty is going to be great. Super Kame Games is a great developer. I think they've done a lot of good things. So, I think they're going to be really good. Let's watch the reveal trailer. So this came out 1 year ago today, and we're going to go watch the reveal trailer. So, crap, you know what I didn't do? I forgot to take that off. Hang on. No, not that one. Where did it go? Where did you go to? Like, sub, outhouse. You're watching. That's the one I want to take off. All right, here we go. Let's go watch the trailer for this, yeah? Yeah. Let's get it.
I still can't get it.
Now, I know I've done a video on all this already.
They said it was supposed to be a paradise on Earth. And from my childhood, I only remember sand, dust, and fear.
Keep in mind, this is a reveal trailer, so this is all CG.
But
this
now,
is in-game play.
Coming last to take back what this land took away from me.
Look at that place. It's fantastic. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wish list now. So this comes out next Thursday, a week and 2 days from now. It should be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be good. I did a whole, like, breakdown of this when it came out, so it should be a lot of fun. The game comes out on the 16th. And again, I should have said this at the very beginning. This is not a sponsored stream for any of these things we're talking about today. I'm not affiliated with Toplitz or Fantastic from the day before or Aitum at all. Like, none whatsoever. Not a sponsored stream. None of that. I just like to point out really good things and then talk about some games that I thought were going to be good. And then may not even get them. And then other plugins and stuff. Yeah, it comes out on the 16th, though. Tara, how's it going? Welcome. A lot of small studios have put hidden games on Steam. They have, but Moon Punch, if you search Moon Punch, I can't find anything on them before like 6 months ago. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, so the next video is them doing a Legos build thing, so it's kind of interesting. The world of Wild West Dynasty. I don't know that I want to watch this whole thing, but it's only 1:54, so we might. So this is them literally building the world with Legos and clay and then painting and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat. Red Rock biome. So we get some information here. Is the reason I want to watch this, though. The prairie biome. The map's supposed to be really, really big too. So mountains biome. Yeah, so you can see the differences there. It's very cool. I like this. The person on the horse looks naked. They did the same Lego thing with Medieval Dynasty? I didn't know that. I never saw that. Yeah, so you got 3D printer, and then they do some sculpting work with clay and stuff. Very cool. This whole thing's pretty neat, in my opinion. What's up, GG? How's it going, buddy? A lot of rendering going on right there. So I guess this shows you they started with the Lego stuff and then, you know, went to the CGI and or the CG or the building of it in game, I guess. The building of it in building of the game itself, and then kind of where they ended up with it. So very cool, though. It's a very, very good piece there. What is this one? This is the in-game teaser. So this is the actual in-game teaser for this here.
When we moved to the West, I was promised peace and prosperity.
Peace and prosperity.
What I found was death, betrayal,
Oh.
and murder. But
I'm gonna stop right there because I see people giving thoughts on just the stuff already. We haven't even gotten to the in-game. This is the game. This is supposed to be the in-game teaser. So this is supposed to be in-game footage here. And Gaming Reflections already said the scenery looks good, but haven't been impressed with the characters' animation in any in-game footage I've seen. So right before we get into this, I'll give my comments on this. And if you remember what I said right at the beginning of this, is that this is built by a studio that I haven't found any information on. Gargoyle, did you find any information on Moon Punch Studios, what other games they've worked on? Or is it a new studio? And again, that's what I was saying, is RenderCube did a great job with Medieval Dynasty, but they've also got some games out there too. So yeah, again, that's what makes me kind of nervous, right? Is because they set that bar up here with Medieval Dynasty and absolutely nothing found on Moon Punch. Okay. Other than where they're located. That's the only thing you can really find. So again, I have high hopes for the game, but I don't have Medieval Dynasty high hopes. You know, like once you get to a certain point when you're developing a game, you set that bar for yourself. Games can flop after that just because everybody's going, well, it wasn't as good as this game.
Will survive.
In-game sequence with added cinematic camera angles.
I will make this my home.
Cinematic camera angles, but in-game footage. I don't know. What's up, Bone?
And I will become the most powerful man in the West.
I do like that. I'm going to stop right there because you notice the difference in this and Medieval Dynasty is you can place buildings down, but it looked like he was moving the building in and out away from him. So I hope that's a function that we have. There's also a top-down view. That's kind of
cool. For generations to come, I will leave my mark.
Oh, you know what? I bet that was a cinematic view. I bet you don't get a top-down view like that.
I will be remembered for generations to come. I will leave my mark on history.
Now, that's a close-up of the in-game character with a cinematic camera going around, of course, probably. But that's the in-game character model. Is that closer to Medieval Dynasty or is that closer to Lumberjack's Dynasty? You guys let me know. I'm not going to be too harsh on the game because I'm going to play it regardless. Farmer's Dynasty, if I could get it to shape out right in windowed mode, I would still be playing it today. Even though it's very old at this point. It came out in 2017. And the graphics and stuff weren't great on it. I think they did a lot of good with that game in farming that a lot of farming games haven't even done yet. So, but you guys let me know. I'm curious. Is this better or worse than Medieval Dynasty? You guys let me know down in the comments. If you're watching later, if you're live, let's talk about it because that's the whole point. If we don't get to the other stuff today, that's fine. But I want to get this. I want to talk about this. This is the main point of today. I think a lot of the conflict that happened in the Wild West could have been avoided had architects in those days just made their own town big enough for everyone. I mean, that's true, because the town's not big enough for everyone. I think a lot of people are going to jump into this game with Medieval Dynasty on their mind. You have to enter this game with an open mind for future of the game instead, especially being early access. Well, that's true, Ness, but at the same time, when Medieval Dynasty Medieval Dynasty came out in early access, the graphics were no worse than they are today, really. I mean, there's been some polishes, but the character models didn't change completely, right? Like, it's still the same graphics. They're just cleaner now than they were. This character model looks more like Lumberjacks cleaned up a lot. That's just my opinion. You can move buildings in and out with a scroll mouse? Are you serious? When did that get added? In Medieval Dynasty? I've been playing that game for 2 straight years and didn't know that? Wow, that makes me look stupid, I guess. Well, I'm glad I know now. I'm glad I know now. What's the VA? What is that? I do hope that the VA is like Medieval Dynasty. What's VA? I'm trying to think. I don't know what that means. What games have Moon Punch Studios made? None. Ori and the Blind Forest? Wait, Moon Punch made Ori and the Blind... There's no way. Dude, I searched them on Steam and it showed nothing. Ori and the Will of the Wisp? The Collector's Edition Blind Forest? No. Voice acting? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. We'll see how the voice acting goes. The voice acting for Medieval Dynasty is pretty good, I think. For Lumberjack Dynasty, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Penny, how's it going? Welcome. Yeah, I haven't found anything, bud. What's up, Dark Sun? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, I haven't found anything on Moon Punch Studios. I haven't found anything on Moon Punch Studios. Oh, that was Moon Studios. Okay, yeah. No, this is Moon Punch Studios. Yeah, if you find anything on Moon Punch Studios, let me know. Because I haven't found anything on Steam on them. Yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest was a different studio. Moon Studios. Okay. Yeah, there you go. That's the problem. That's the problem. Bone said the voice acting is static, just my opinion. You talking about for Medieval Dynasty? I think it's okay. I mean, I think it fits the times. Is there even is there voiceovers? Now I don't know. Now I don't know. I literally just played yesterday. And I can't remember if it's like when you talk to somebody, does it actually speak the words or is it like in passing and such? I can't remember. Literally yesterday, can't remember.
But first, there are some things I need to take care of.
This looks a lot like Lumberjack Dynasty to me. That's just me. But leave your thoughts because I want to hear them. Let's talk about this. Let's get. Oh, that's kind of a cool shot though. Kind of definitive of the Wild West era and being an outlaw and such. So, all right, this is the Wild West Dynasty release date trailer. Everything I've seen up to this point points to Wild West Dynasty being Moon Punch's first release. It's the only game that pops up when I search. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, Shandy, that's what I'm saying too, is like I'm pretty sure this is the first thing. I can't find anything. Established in 2018 might be the same. It could be Mama Java, I don't know. Most voice actors in MD is in passing or opening of vendor inventory. Yeah. I sell the best goods of oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, I was about to say they didn't actually do the words because I remember having to read all that mess and I'm not good at reading, so still needs more NPC sounds. Like being in a morgue, walking around your town. I mean, it kind of is. But at this point, Gaming Reflections, honestly, the game's been in full release for a year and 5 months now. So, you know, you would think all that would be done on full release, but that's... Don't shoot me, but that's just my opinion. All that should have been done before it came out full release, in my opinion. Just me, though. Yeah, so it could be the same. This is the release date trailer. I really like the graphics and stuff. It doesn't look terrible if this is in-game footage, and it's probably just cinema. This looks like in-game footage. It looks very choppy. I love the landscapes and stuff. I think they nailed that. 16/02/23. Wish list now. And again, there's links down below, guys, for everything that we're going to do today. You can find all of these. You can find all of these videos on Top Blitz's YouTube page, and I'll put the link down below for that. Also, Wild West Dynasty link for Steam is down there too. Go find all of those and check them out. There should have been a lot done before. Yeah, I feel like they're doing a lot after full release, and it's like full release is supposed to be full release. But I mean, I understand of wanting to get it out of early access so you can say you fully released the game, but there was a lot that should have been done before then. So, all right. So this is our first devlog. This came at dev blog. This came out a month ago. So this came out in January. Really? This came out in January? There's no way. I thought this came out in December. So this is 5 minutes long. We're gonna check this out. We'll be pausing and stopping and talking about some of the stuff that he's bringing up here. So Wild West Dynasty development blog number 1, visuals of the Wild West. This should be pretty good. I should have had all this done before the stream, but I didn't. That's true. I hope that the horse steering is better than Medieval Dynasty. It's probably going to be similar. I would expect it to be similar. I agree, though. I hope they can take little things that need to be adjusted and learn from it and go on. But since it's a different development studio, you know, who knows? Full release with incomplete tendencies. Yes. Yeah, that sounds more like it.
What landscape do you see when you think of the Wild West?
That.
The open prairie?
Well, that too.
Maybe with green pastures.
That too.
Or barren deserts with strange rock formations.
All of that. Again, I think it looks great.
Maybe even snow-covered mountains. Well, all of this and more you will find in Wild West Dynasty. Let us take a look at how the development team from Moon Punch Studio got their inspiration.
All right. So let's see how they got their inspiration. That is Matthias. I hope I pronounced that right.
We wanted to include iconic vistas.
In-game visuals, work in progress. I don't know if you guys can see that at the top left of that screen
immediately
there.
recognize and that will create emotions. Even though we are not using real locations, but our creative variations of them. Places that create associations with either spots you have visited or you have seen in a movie. We have prairies like you would expect in the Dakotas, Oklahoma, Texas, or Wyoming. We also let you explore desert areas reminiscent of Arizona, Nevada, and Death Valley. And the further
I kind of like the wagons and stuff just kind of broken down in like a trail pattern because I guess during like the push west and the Wild West days, you would have had very few like options to travel. You would have been either following the railroad or following whatever path was already there. So this is probably a common sight back then. Very neat. I'm doing well, Lori. I hope you are. Which means not what you'll see while playing. Yeah, that's true.
reminiscent of Arizona, Nevada, and Death Valley. And the further you travel in this vast open world, eventually you will get to the mountains that will remind you of the Sierra Nevada or the Cascade Range. Even though these areas will not yet be included when Wild West Dynasty releases into early access on February 16th, 2023.
Did he just say will not be included? Hang on. What's up, Mike Ladd? How's it going? They have to include carts or wagons. You would think so. Yeah, if we don't get like covered wagons and stuff, I'm going to be upset.
Dynasty releases, even though these remind you of the Sierra Nevada or the Cascade Range. Even though these areas will not yet be included.
Well, not yet.
Or the Cascade Range. Even though these areas will not yet be included when Wild West Dynasty releases into early access on February 16th, 2023.
So they're not going to be included when it releases into early access. Maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe that's what they're saying. The Wild West was hit and miss until the late 1880s. I mean, I guess it's true too. But I mean, they were still carving out lines and stuff. So unless you're traveling like that same cleared out path, you know, you're following the other wagon trails and stuff. That's all I was saying, Bone, is like you're going to follow the same wagon trails a lot of people took. And that was probably a fairly common occurrence to see a lot of stuff broke down. Yeah, so these areas are not going to... It seems like we're going to be very limited to the map when this comes out.
Even though these areas will not yet be included when Wild West Dynasty releases into early access on February 16th, 2023. But they are a part of our development roadmap filled to the brim with new content being delivered to you in the weeks and months to come.
Okay, so they do plan on updating it and releasing them as they update the game. Oh God, I hate when that happens too. I guess it's a really big map because even Medieval Dynasty released the whole map in its entirety, short of like Tutki, right? Tutki wasn't in there. There may have been another town that wasn't in there, but I think all the towns were in there when it released in early access. So it must be a really big map. They've said it takes a long time to walk from one side to the other. So going to be 1 or possibly 2 biomes in EA, I reckon. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But like I mentioned before, those areas just served as an inspiration. We took every biome and put our creative spin on it while making sure that the borders between each area are seamless. You start in the prairie, find a way into the desert, and eventually will move into the mountain ranges once they are included.
Okay, so it said you start in the prairie, work your way into the desert, and then the mountain ranges once they're included. So I'm guessing that's what that means. We're going to start in the prairie area, which is probably the easiest place to start. In the desert, water's going to be hard to find, food's going to be hard to find, building materials going to be hard to find. In the mountain ranges, it's going to be cold. Building materials are going to be hard to get to. It's going to be hard areas to build in because it's so hilly, probably. So it's probably the reason we're going to start in the valley areas and then work our way outward from there. So from IGN, this must be the first gameplay ever because it's only one. It's the only one listed. You talk about for this game? I mean, I try not to use IGN because they'll typically only post 1 or 2 in-game footage videos. So I'm using this this is straight from Toplit's YouTube. So Outlaws of the Old West is the game I was thinking of. Looks like we'll be moving our towns a lot. Well, so I think because so many people built in different places in Medieval Dynasty, and you built, your mining camps here, and then your logging camps over here. A lot of people did that with Medieval Dynasty. Some people, like I had a farm separate until I just moved my village back in Season 4. I had a farm separate from where I built, I think that it's encouraged to build in multiple locations. I think. I know in Sengoku Dynasty, it's not only encouraged, but you almost have to because your villagers have to live within a certain area, close enough to their workplace, right? So you almost have to build different villages in Sengoku. The way that looks, anyway. That's kind of the way I've heard it. I don't know for sure, but I think that's it. What's up, Ethan? How's it going? All the towns in MDU were on EA. Tutki didn't have a name though. It was there. You're right. Yeah, it just didn't have a name. Okay. Yeah, because those areas are too much of a work in progress. That's true. I mean, it could be. Yeah.
Desert and events are seamless.
Back up here.
Start in the prairie, find a way into the desert, and eventually will move into the mountain ranges once they are included.
Okay.
And eventually will move. You start in the prairie, find a way into the desert, and eventually will move into the mountain ranges once they are included.
So he said you'll start in the prairie, work your way into the desert, and then the mountain ranges once they're included. I don't know if the desert and the mountain ranges need to be included, or if the desert will be there, and then we'll work our way into the mountain ranges once they're included. I'm assuming it's just going to be the prairie area first, is all we're going to get. That's my thinking on it, which probably will still be enough, honestly, if the map's that big. So.
And all that while encountering many more captivating sights.
Okay. Oh, you were talking about IGN and Moon Punch Studio being on there. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. We're at least 2 years before full release? I don't know. I mean, typically Farmer Dynasty went 2 years, Lumberjacks went a year, Medieval Dynasty went a year. I expect a year. If it's more than a year, I'd be shocked, honestly. Well, I'll say that, but then it'll be a year full release, and it'll be another 2 years worth of just constant updates and new stuff added. So basically not full release.
And all that while encountering many more captivating sights. And we made sure that you will have plenty of sights to take in. Showing off one of the biggest maps in the Dynasty franchise so far, it can take roughly 30 minutes to make the trip from the most western to the most eastern point if you walk in a steady pace. South to north will
30 minutes from one side to the other if you walk at a steady pace. So if you just walk straight through without stopping, without getting attacked by something or whatever, it's going to take you 30 minutes to walk from just one side to the other, not at an angle, right? Not north to south, just across.
To the most eastern point if you walk in a steady pace. South to north will take even longer. Especially when you stop, and believe me, you will stop, and look at the stunning environments or find one of the many secrets or Easter eggs we have in store for you.
Okay, so secrets, Easter eggs, and other stuff you're going to stop for. It's going to take longer to walk north to south than it does from east to west, which is pretty cool. It's going to be a big map. I think I'll get the train. Yeah, I think I'll do the same. What's up, Gabe? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, this is bigger. Yeah, Bone, you're right. So maybe 2 years before full release. Yeah.
And of course, that gives you already a lot of space to build your farms or settlements. But we will tell you more about that at a later point. Both with the flora and especially the wildlife, we want to enhance the atmosphere. So
those graphics do not look like Medieval Dynasty graphics, folks. This is in-game visuals, work in progress, of course. Hopefully, in my opinion, they don't. They might. I don't know. Again, I just played yesterday. I couldn't remember if the which of the NPCs had voiceovers and which didn't. So, I may just be too judgy here. And I know this is early work too. I get all that. Again, I'm very hopeful for the game. I hope it does great. I am going to be streaming it every Wednesday right here on this channel once it comes out. So I'm not hating on the game. I'm going to be playing it. I'm buying it with my own money. It's not sponsored. None of that. I'm going to be here playing it. So Mike coming in for 26 months as a member. Thank you, buddy. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing well. You think this is Unreal Engine 4? Boy, that would be terrible, wouldn't it? I mean, it probably is. It kind of looks like it. I don't know a lot about development work, but it does kind of look familiar. It does kind of look familiar. Reggie, what's going on? How are you? Hope you're doing well. At work, been lurking from the start. Cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate you lurking.
The flora and especially the wildlife, we want to enhance the atmosphere.
It just looks.
So of course, when you travel through the various biomes, you will encounter a wide variety of flowers, trees, etc. and animals, both domesticated and wild. For farms to start with, you will have goats, turkey, chicken, cows, and of course, horses. You'll have goats, turkey, chicken, cows.
Goats, turkeys, chickens, cows,
and of course, horses.
And horses.
In the wild, you will meet scorpions, snakes, wolves, coyotes, bison, raccoons, various rodents, insects like butterflies, and birds like the Californian condor, as well as many others. Most of them will usually ignore you. But don't be surprised if you are followed by a pack of wolves, or an overly aggressive raccoon if you come too close to them. Or if you are bitten by a...
I mean, he's not lying about raccoons. Territorial raccoons, especially mothers with babies, they can do some damage in a hurry. They have very sharp teeth, and they are very mean. So, I like the wildlife. It fits it. So, is there dysentery? Probably, yeah. There probably is. Bones said I'm going to make a Western about a mute lawman. Quiet Earp.
Snake because you didn't listen to its warning.
Yes, do it. Do it.
If you decide to hunt them, you can scavenge the remains and get resources like meat, fur, bones, and so on. But in the end, resources like meat, fur, bones.
Bones. That's something not included in Medieval Dynasty, is it? You don't get bones from your...
You can scavenge the remains and get resources like meat, fur, bones, and so on.
You don't get bones from your hunt in Medieval Dynasty, do you?
But in the end, it will be up to you to decide where to go and what to do. We want to give you not only the maximum freedom, but also an atmospheric world inviting you to explore. Together with a 24/7 day-night cycle that comes with its own environmental challenges like frosty cold nights and blistering midday sun in the desert, as well as seasons, we have planned a weather system. But that will also be a part of the roadmap.
Weather system's going to be a part of the roadmap, but true to its... there's also seasons and a 24-hour day-night cycle, just like there is in Medieval Dynasty. but true to the desert, right? During the day, it's blistering hot. At night, it can, I mean, you can get very, very cold at night, even during the summer. So that's pretty good. I'm glad they did that. What's up, Adam? How's it going? We have enough bone here while we want some in game 2. Some people want more. Man, you guys are getting out of control.
There will be no extreme weather occurrences like week-long rain in the desert, etc.
Okay, hang on.
Extreme weather occurrence the roadmap. Having said that, there will be no extreme weather occurrences.
There will be none extreme weather occurrences. I don't know how I feel about that. I think having extreme weather occurrences is what makes a game great, but there could be many reasons why not to do it. Let's listen and see. I've already watched this, so I know he includes the reasons why.
Like week-long rain in the desert, etc. In the prairie or mountain areas, of course, you might have rain or even snow. But one thing is for sure, there will be no flash floods, etc. We made that decision with the fun factor in mind. If you spend dozens of hours building your farm or settlements just to have them wiped out by a natural disaster, yes, that might score loads of points on the realism scale, but no, it sure is not fun to play.
So, because you're going to spend hours and hours and hours building your settlement, and then a flash flood comes through, water rushes down in this valley behind him right here, and then your town gets wiped out, and then you got to start over. I could see why they didn't want to include it, right? Because it would take a lot of programming and a lot of probably hundreds and maybe even thousands of hours of extra work, man hours, I guess, to program something where it only did some damage or whatever. I don't know how programming works, but at minimum there should be dust storms. Yeah. No tornadoes in Tornado Alley. I mean, to be fair, Tornado Alley is a little bit further east than where this is taking place. This is like Western Texas, Arizona, stuff like that. So they don't, I mean, they're not really known for tornadoes. So, I mean, to be honest, no tornadoes make sense. Dust storms, absolutely. Flash floods and stuff absolutely happen. So, I mean, that should be in there, but I get it. Drought, he didn't say anything about drought, so I'm guessing you're in a constant drought if there's no flash floods. Realism is a risk you take. That's true, Reggie. Yeah, I honestly would love to see them build an option into the game. Now, I don't know what kind of coding this would take to turn weather events on and off. That's what I would have shot for, but again, it may have been an expense thing where it would have been too expensive to spend the amount of work hours on it needed to make that happen, to be able to have a setting to where you can play in realism mode basically with weather events and stuff. I think that would be kind of cool. Dust Devils, that is a thing out there. I don't know I doubt they're going to have them. If they're not doing any extreme weather, then they're probably not going to have them, sadly. Usually you can turn disasters off. You can, but to what degree in the coding they have, I don't know. So I don't know. Hopefully, but DLC Armageddon. Yeah, Wild West Armageddon.
That's it with our first devlog series for Wild West Dynasty. Thank you for your attention, and we will see you in the Wild West.
We'll see you in the Wild West. So I'm looking forward to it. But what in the world? All right, so this is Wild West Dynasty Development Blog, Episode 2, A Fistful of Questions. If you get the reference, it's a fistful of dollars. But we even get them in the outback in Australia. Aussie Wild West, yeah, for sure, yeah. Dust Devils, you guys get some strong ones over there too. Wonder if you can get married. I assume Euphoria, because every game they've put out so far is focused on the dynamic of getting married and having kids and that kind of stuff. And this is called one of their dynasties. It's part of their dynasty series. I'm assuming you can. I'm assuming that's probably going to be one of the main things you can do is get married and have kids to continue your dynasty. So, just my thoughts on it. But so can we shoot, folks? I haven't heard anything yet, and I've watched several of these dev blogs. Adam, I'm gonna say that it's gonna be similar to Medieval Dynasty, where there's gonna be bandits and outlaws and stuff, and you have to defend yourself. I don't think you can just run around shooting people. It's not GTA. I don't think they're gonna do that. I don't think they're gonna do that. Just my opinion. Not much of a dynasty if you can't get married and have kids. I mean, that's true, Gabe. Yeah. So because it's a dynasty game, I'm gonna say you can definitely get married. But I don't think it's gonna be GTA. They don't. Toplit, if you look back at Toplit's history, right, they don't really make games for violence, right? Farmer Dynasty, Lumberjacks Dynasty, Medieval Dynasty, they're not made for violence, but because of the medieval times, they had to put some bandits in there just to keep it interesting. But they didn't make it so you could run around and kill townsfolk. So, you know, with that, I'm actually okay with it. So, how about if we can get drunk and go into the saloon fights? I mean, if you can't see a fight in the saloon, it's not much of a Wild West game. I'm just gonna be honest. People may compare this to Red Dead 2. They started comparing it to Red Dead 2 last year when the trailer released for it. It's like, people, stop comparing this to Red Dead 2. Red Dead 2 is a AAA game that millions and millions of dollars got spent making. Like, this is not that. This is not that. Thinking about like bandits and stuff. Yeah, Adam, you'll probably get something similar to what Medieval Dynasty has. So you'll get like the bandits that camp out, and you'll have some that are just along the roadside. I'm assuming. Wild West Dynasty, I would assume some of the bandits would be more like cowboy gangs or whatever and be on horses. I don't know, but I hope that's the case.
Hello, howdy,
gold mining,
and welcome
hopefully.
to another episode
Hopefully.
of the development blog series for Wild West.
I say hopefully, I mean you'll probably have to go mining anyway, but gold should be a primary source of exchange because it's in the Wild West. Just need a DeLorean time machine mod for it, dude. If we get if they would open this up to modding, there'd be a clock tower being built in the middle of town. Like there'd be so many cool things people would do to this from Back to the Future, I would think. I will never be in the realm of Red Dead 2. Yeah, this will never be in the realm of Red Dead 2 or even Red Dead 1. Red Dead 1 was probably the best game ever made, in my opinion. But hopefully it'll be good. Yeah. You have low expectations. You think Sengoku's getting the priority? I don't think it's getting priority because it's two different dev teams, right? This is Moon Punch. Former Virtual Magic Games was working on this. I don't know if anybody remembers that, though. Virtual Magic Games was the original developer set on Steam for the one working on this game. And now Moon Punch Studios is taking over. But Sengoku's Super Kame Games, it's a whole different developer. Just like Render Cube is doing Medieval Dynasty. Like, they're totally different. So, I mean, they're each getting their own amount of workload. But it's what engine are they being built on? How many other games like this have they made? How deep is Toplit's trying to get with the storyline and what they expect out of the game, what they expect the developer to be making, that kind of stuff, what they can actually make. I mean, I just think there's a lot. There's a lot. You've lost the will to PC games since we got VR for Christmas. I have a VR sitting over here. I've used to stream once, and the kid sits and looks at outer space more than I actually play on it. So. I'm wandering around shouting, Lenny! I do hope there are shootouts at high noon. Yeah, there needs to be some essence of Wild West. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There needs to be some essence there of some Wild West. All right, let's see about this
howdy,
development
and
blog
welcome
number
to
2.
Another episode of the development blog series for Wild West Dynasty.
A fistful of questions.
Thank you for your feedback, as well as the warm comments that we received for the first episode. We are really happy that you are looking forward to the game, and we understand that you have a lot of questions. So we decided to make this a Q&A session.
Decided to make it a
Let's
Q&A
not
session.
jump the gun here.
Okay. I don't know where they get the
We
questions.
want to get a decent early access start done on February 16, 2023, with plenty of content to keep you engaged for dozens of hours, depending on your playstyle. And we have already a lot of additional content and features planned, so the roadmap is filled to the brim already. There will be regular updates, plus necessary bug fixing and optimization. And overall, we are thinking about monthly content updates, but directly after the early access launch, we want to deliver new content more frequently, so a bi-weekly rhythm might be in place for some time, while a bit later, it might be the best to settle for a monthly rhythm.
So, before we get into the questions, he basically just said that they're shooting for monthly updates, but they're going to try for bi-weekly updates content updates. Now, not just patches and fixes, but content updates, bi-weekly, and then monthly content updates if they get stretched out too much, which that's fine with me. Monthly content updates would be fantastic. It seems like they're releasing like the bare minimum of the map, and then they're going to release more of the map as they go. So monthly content updates would be great. It would add a little bit more and let, you know, see how your computer runs it and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure it's not going to be very well optimized right away. I definitely wouldn't get my hopes up for like Medieval Dynasty level that we have today in this. I just don't think that's going to happen. So I continue to reiterate that because I don't want people to get their hopes up and then them, you know, play for 30 minutes and go, oh, this game's crap, I'm going to get a refund. It's early access. It's not Red Dead. It's not GTA. It's not Medieval Dynasty. You know, it's not the same level of game, I don't think. I just don't think this is going to be the same level as Medieval Dynasty. I really don't. I have hopes for it, but I just don't think it's going to. You see a shooting and blood splatter in the trailer. Yeah, so there's got to be some kind of shootout mechanic, right? There has to be because of the game, because of the setting in the game. Bone said, I hope we can play poker. If I can't go into the saloon and play some 5-card draw, you know, I don't know how Wild West it's going to be if I can't do that. I'm going to make the town bathhouse because you can cowpokes. You cowpokes are going to stink. I mean, that's true, Adam. Yeah, we're going to need somewhere to bathe for sure. If there aren't outhouses, I will revolt. There better be outhouses. MD started off unpolished and turned into a gym. Fingers crossed this can do the same. Yeah, but again, Mama Java, the graphics in Medieval Dynasty were great from the get-go, though, right? Compared to the other Dynasty games. It was like, it really set the bar way up here. And I feel like this is built on a different engine. I don't think this is built on the same game engine. It doesn't look like it. So, while I have high hopes for it, I don't think they're built on the same game engine. And I don't think the quality is going to be quite there. So, NVIDIA GeForce 1080 Ti AMD Radeon RX 5700 XT for 1080p high for this? Is that what it recommends? Surely not. We'll look at the Steam stuff in a minute. We're going to go through some of the Steam picture stuff as well. Let's get back into this, and here's some questions. How much violence is involved? Are there peaceful options available?
You can have as much or as little violence as you want. Of course, the Wild West wasn't called exactly that because it was so peaceful.
That's true.
You will meet gunslingers, bandits, and other groups that tend to use violence to get what they want.
Bandits, gunslingers, and other groups. So exactly what I said earlier, we're going to get those bandits, like the camps and stuff you see in Medieval Dynasty. Probably get some that are wandering, and other groups, so outlaw gangs maybe and stuff too. So that's cool.
But how you react to them is up to you. And with our reputation system that not only shows itself in an overall reputation, but a personal and changeable connection to every NPC you meet, you might want to think about how you approach situations and if you really should draw that weapon.
So check that out. There's different sheaths for knives. There's different knife handles. Like, I wonder if this is all stuff that's in game here. That's kind of cool. All three of these are different knives with different sheaths.
Will you be able to eradicate whole settlements? Doubtful, for various reasons. One of them, that the people living there might take you out themselves.
Yeah, there's another one. It's totally different.
We are currently thinking about various models of how to deal with the violence. But of course, you can't have a game in a Western setting, and whenever there is conflict, the debate club is called to discuss and find a solution.
I like that. I like that. You can't have conflict in a Western game and then call the debate club. Yeah, no. And Elysium said, you can have as much violence as you want. I want all the violence. But give me all of it. That's why handshaking is commonly using your right hand. Yes, you wipe with your left hand.
Plus, you will be able to work as a bounty hunter, and that will not work by talking your opponent into submission.
Hold on.
Bounty hunt is called to discuss and find a solution. Plus, you will be able to work as a bounty hunter, and that will not work by talking your opponent into submission.
You'll be able to work as a bounty hunter. Okay.
Action is just a minor puzzle piece of everything that Wild West Dynasty has to offer, and is definitely not the main focus.
So it's definitely not the main focus, but there is gameplay involved around it, so you'll be able to... I'll make you famous. Man, Emilio Estevez absolutely nailed that role, I think. So you'll be able to work as a bounty hunter. Violence is not the main focus of the game, and I didn't think it would be because Toplitz isn't known for making violent games. Even in Farmers Dynasty and Lumberjacks Dynasty, you couldn't even hunt. There was wildlife, but you couldn't even hunt, right? Like, they didn't even go that far. At Medieval Dynasty, you almost have to, though, because of the way it's, you know, it's the medieval times. You have to provide food and stuff, so I get that. But them adding a little bit more violent element to the game is, in my opinion, is a little different from what they normally would put out. But I say that, but we've got some other games that Toplitz is the production company for later on this year and next year that we're going to be talking about on these Talking Tuesdays as they come up, and some of them are mind-blowingly violent. So for Toplitz, because this is not something that they're typically known for, is all the violence and stuff in games. But can I build anywhere or just in certain places? Let's see.
In theory, you can build anywhere on the map. But of course, there are natural obstructions that will keep you from building, like steep terrain, rock formations, etc. Plus, as a hub for your settlement or resource facilities, you will need a warehouse.
Look at that. Like, look at that build. That looks really good. I like the way the buildings and stuff are laid out. If you look at the shed over on the side over there, you see how it's got the little 2x4s or posts or whatever coming down, kind of supporting the wall. You got to think none of this was like buried in the ground. There were no concrete foundations. There was none of that. So that all looks very realistic to me. I like the fences, the way they're laid out too. The pathways, I hope we can make pathways and stuff in this game instead of just dropping boards on the ground.
Another important factor is the aesthetics. Do you care if your settlement is functional first and nice to look at second? Or do you care about how everything is placed and leaves a good impression once you ride through Main Street?
So that's a good point too. There's a lot of people in Medieval Dynasty that have done really creative builds. Hectic Nassari is one of them, of course, and make really. I've seen some crazy good builds and pictures and stuff. People have, since you can pick the items up, people have done all kinds of crazy builds in Medieval Dynasty and just made them look so good. Right? Mine are very basic. Mine are more. They're not even functional, really. Mine are just more what I think looks good. So. Can you build a bordello? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be in the game. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but I don't think that's going to be in the game. But I honestly, I'm glad they're embracing the fact that people get really creative with their builds and are calling that out here in the trailer. Not saying you can do crazy stuff, but if you're going to, then you're going to need to build a more open area. Or if you just want buildings to be there and be able to use them, then you can probably get away with building in some rocky areas and stuff too. So, because you're not going to have room for the decorations and stuff in those rocky areas, the mountainous terrain, but you may be able to put your village down, kind of deal. So, it was very much about part of the Wild West culture for sure. Yeah, bounty hunting, nice, yes. Dead or alive, you come. I mean, basically, Reggie, that's what it feels like they were saying. Yeah.
There will be more than enough space to make your Wild West city dreams become reality.
There you go.
But just because you can basically build on every free square yard doesn't mean you should. But in the end, it is up to you as long as you have the materials and enjoy what you are doing.
Can I build one settlement or multiple? Are they connected? So before he answers, I think people are asking that question because in Medieval Dynasty, your resource storage share a inventory, right? So you can basically go to any of your resource storages anywhere on the map and get stuff out. So I'm curious to see what he has to say about it, and if he even answers that question or not specifically, or if he just says they are connected, but you may still need to build more, blah blah blah. So I'm hoping that's kind of the option there. You like the variety of buildings? Yeah, it looks a lot like it's going to be like Medieval Dynasty, where you have like the framework and it sets down and then you just piece it together. That's what it looks like to me.
We encourage you to build multiple settlements to get the most out of the game and the deep economic system that lies underneath.
The deep economic
system.
system.
It's possible, okay, but more difficult to get by with only one settlement, especially if room to grow is limited, for example, in mountain regions. It might be better to have a few settlements, probably with different sizes and different focus points like resource gathering, production, or living quarters, and then connect them to form resource streams or production lines, for example, because the high-level blacksmith is in one settlement and the shop that needs the produced items is in another.
He said connect them to form resource lines.
focus points, especially if room to grow is limited, for example,
Right.
in mountain regions. It might be better to have a few settlements, probably with different sizes and different focus points like resource gathering, production, or living quarters, and then connect them to form resource streams or production lines.
Resource streams and production lines, you have to connect them. So I wonder if that means... Does that mean you're going to be able to have a job for villagers where they literally just pull the wagon and back and forth and transfer goods, like physically transport goods? Resources and production lines. That's a big deal, man. That's a huge step from... There has to be wagons. Yeah, there has to be. And we've seen them in the trailers and stuff, too. My nose is just itching today. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't have any boogers that are stuck. It's just itching. Does that mean that we're going to have... yeah, I mean, I hope they do something like that, Stormwraith. I do, because it just makes sense. And the way he said it kind of makes sense.
Or living quarters, and then connect them to form resource streams or production lines, for example, because the high-level blacksmith is in one settlement and the shop that needs the produced items is in another. In the end, the choice is yours.
Resource streams resource streams and transport lines or something? What do you say, production lines? Yeah, so I'm guessing that means everything is not going to be like cloud-based, right? Where your resource storage in Medieval Dynasty is in one town and then in another town, but if you go to this one, it has the same stuff this one has. Like, it doesn't sound like that's going to be the case. So that's going to make it interesting.
You will find out what will work best for you, how you want to experience Wild West Dynasty, and what you need to do to get the most out of it. Again, it is all about personal playstyle and freedom of choice.
What is the gameplay in Wild West Dynasty about?
Like previously released as well as upcoming titles from our Dynasty franchise, Wild West Dynasty is a blend of various genres. Set in a vast open world to explore, you will find elements of role-playing with quests and character development, survival, exploration, resource as well as city management, action-adventure, and life simulation. As the lone survivor of an attack, the game starts with you, the hero, having to survive in a harsh environment. But soon, all the other elements are added and will move into focus at different times and stages in the game, also depending on your playstyle. You can focus on the story, you can concentrate on city building, or maybe you want to spend most of the time grinding resources or explore every nook and cranny. Maybe you want to mix and match all the elements that we offer, depending on your daily mood. Who knows? The choice is always yours. And as for the name-giving Dynasty feature, we use that term to describe that whatever you set out to do should leave a lasting impression, a legacy, something that will stand the test of time in that world, achievements that the player character will be remembered for. And of course, family, or continuation of the bloodline, meaning that you should find a partner, raise a family, and eventually hand over all the responsibility to an heir in order to continue the success. And of course, with Wild West Dynasty, you will be able to play that heir and continue what the original hero started.
All right, so there you go. That answered our marriage question, our dynasty question about being able to play as the heir. You'll be able to play as the heir. So that answers a lot of questions about it. I think that's great. And again, if you're just showing up, there's links down below to Toplet's YouTube channel, and you can go check out all these videos yourself. And then there's a link down below to wishlisted on Steam as well. Maybe just connected by a road. I mean, maybe, but I'm sure there's going to be like pre-made trails and stuff that you can follow too. So maybe, I don't know. Covered wagon version of satisfactory train transport. That's what it sounds like, Elysium, yeah. I like the idea of trade lines. Sounds like there might be job boards requiring materials lists for deliveries to different areas. It could be, Nas, yeah. I think there's a lot of good things they could really do with this if they really get out there and think outside the box. Although it comes out in a week and 2 days, you know, since it's coming out in early access, there's a lot they could change and do as the game builds. And also, you got to think, too, Toplets and RenderCube did a fantastic job in Medieval Dynasty of when the community was like, hey, we need this in the game. This would be great. And they went, you know what? You're right. We'll try to work that into it. And they did. So I think if enough people really think outside the box on these trade lines and stuff, that they might try to implement some things that the community wants. I think that'd be great too. I guess it would be too much to ask for multiplayer. This game really should have been released with multiplayer. Like, they already knew when Medieval Dynasty came out, like a week after it came out, people were asking about multiplayer for it, you know? They should have planned this game from the get-go with multiplayer. But I can say this. We did a Talking Tuesday, and we'll do another one as we get more information about Pirates Dynasty. As it gets closer and they start putting out devlogs, we'll do one of these where we sit down and just talk about it. And watch the devlogs and such. We'll do one of these when it gets closer to time. But they specifically said you could play with up to 4 people, so that means you and 3 other people could team up and play Pirates Dynasty. So the fact that they didn't do it with this one kind of shocks me, honestly. I would think that for the last 2 years, everybody's been talking about Medieval Dynasty multiplayer. You would think that pretty much any game they build in the Dynasty series, they would figure out a way to do multiplayer for it as they build it. Because typically when you build a game, you have to go back and completely recode it for multiplayer, right? If it's not built for multiplayer, you have to recode it completely. Chucklefish and Stardew Valley is a good example of that. The guy had to bring in 1 or 2 other people to help him recode for multiplayer, completely recode the game for multiplayer. So, you know, if they would just do it from the get-go, just have it where it's at least 3-4 people co-op. You know, at least 2-person co-op would be great. Not like a huge MMO or anything, but just like a co-op game where you can have people join you and play. And it sounds like with Pirates Dynasty they've done that. They've already, like, in the trailer. I think it was mentioned that you'll be able to play with friends or whatever. So I think I might have to go back and watch it. We watched the video and we've already done the coverage on it and stuff, but I think that's the case. So we'll see, but hopefully that's the case anyway.
And that's all we have time for in this episode of the development blog series for Wild West Dynasty.
I think there's
Please
5
don't
of
worry
these.
if your question wasn't picked or answered. We have a lot more Q&A videos in store for you during the course of the series. So keep the questions coming, either here in the comments or in the Wild West Dynasty community section on Steam. Thank you very much for tuning in.
There you go. And there's a link to Steam down below, like I said. So if you're looking for that link,
exciting characters,
I like the
drama,
hat,
and intense conversations. Wild West Dynasty has more to offer than beautiful visuals and motivating gameplay mechanics. Let's talk about the story.
Oh, here we go. All right, so we got fistful of questions, and then we get storytelling in the Wild West interview. Cool.
Hello, welcome, and howdy to the 3rd episode of the development blog series for Wild West Dynasty. And boy, do we have a treat for you today. No, I don't mean this. Because for this episode, we can welcome a guest.
Come on,
and
Matthias,
that
I like the
is
hat.
none other than author Ivan Erdloff, who joins us from Australia via a well-known communications tool. Ivan is part of the creative team responsible for the main story and quest design. Thank you, Ivan, for joining us, and thank you for your time.
So Ivan worked on a lot of different stuff. So let's hear what he's got to say. This is 13 minutes long. Oh my God, we may not get to anything else today.
You are a renowned writer, but what a lot of people might not know is that one could say you have a second home in the video games industry for decades now, and that not only as a writer. Can you name a few projects that you were a part of?
Okay, thank you for having me, first of all. Second, I need a clarification here. Do you mean projects where I worked on but not in a writing position?
Either or.
Basically, Painkiller, Risk, Anno, Hitman 2016, Fast and Furious, Spellforce, The Guild, Gothic 3. Let's not talk about Gothic 4. Let's forget that chapter. There was never a Gothic 4. So
I don't remember Gothic 4 if it helps.
So I'm currently at around 110, 112 shipped games, but on most of them I was in a writing or community management or publishing position, and around 30, 35 I was actually either the producer or the game designer, level designer, like more in a hands-on position.
Okay, so he's been a writer for several games. And he's one of the people helping write the storyline for Wild West Dynasty, apparently. So he's been a writer on several games. He's worked in several different positions for other games as well. So at least we know for sure that there's one person in there that has some serious experience behind games. The dude worked on the Guild 1, and Anno. So I mean,
when you compare games to other entertainment mediums, where do you see its advantages in terms of storytelling, if there are any?
That's actually an interesting topic, and then it's an interesting and challenging question, because if I compare it to writing books, novels based on an own IP, like not some contracted, I work with Star Wars or Warhammer IP or whatever, it's just my own baby. It's quite simple, because I am the writer, the director, the game designer, the level designer, the art director. I create everything and I paint the pictures in the head of the readers. And there is, except of some adventure style books where you have to actually make active decisions and roll a dice and then go to a different chapter, there are some examples that are a little bit otherwise. However, usually you have full control as a writer.
I'm gonna stop him right there. Look at the player animation. I know it's very early, it's a work in progress, but this is very Lumberjacks Dynasty, maybe even Farmers Dynasty.
You have the full control over every character, every piece of action, the outcome of any situation. When you write for a game, you have an unstable element, and that's the player. You don't know, especially when you write for open world games, you never know where the player heads next, with which characters they will prefer interacting, which characters they will totally ignore. And it still has to work. So you're herding cats. You have hundreds of variables in this open world, and the story still kind of has to function and work and lead to the outcome you want the player to experience. So that's a very different beast.
All right, so what are you saying is writing for open world games like this versus writing for something that is very path-based, where you know that this player is going to have to interact with this, and this, is very different, because something like this, we could run past half the NPCs and never talk to them. But if we do decide to talk to them, it still has to work like it's intended. So he was just explaining why this is a little more challenging than others. He was walking like he has saddle sores. He wasn't he, Gargoyle? Character movement's very city folk, not arm swinging cowboy. Yeah.
Speaking of Wild West Dynasty, in your opinion, what makes this era of American history so interesting?
That's interesting. The Wild West, there is this whole cowboy stereotypes, romantic campfire scenery with the sun going down in the desert of Arizona. We have all of that, like really cliche-driven, Hollywood-painted surroundings. But actually, if we look at Wild West Dynasty, we are not in the cliche area. We are like 3, 4, 5 decades earlier, so like way before the Civil War. We are actually in the pioneering area.
So Wild West is not even taking place anywhere close to the railroad then, because he's talking about 3, 4 decades before even the Civil War. So, I mean, we're talking way before the railroad, right? He said 3, 4, even 5 decades before. So we're talking about like the what's it called? The Oregon Trail. I mean, we're talking about the Oregon Trail level, right? Where people are just now going west. So we're going west and setting up our own Wild West town, basically. So that's kind of cool. I kind of see this is, I don't know much about the medieval era, like as far as like the villages go. So like medieval dynasty, I don't know much about that, the rural area part, right? Just the everyday survival part for everyday villagers and stuff. But because of Wild West movies and the Wild West being so glorified, everybody kind of knows that we moved west. You know, it was a hard life. Most people died. Like, it was very difficult. There was a lot of outlaw gangs and stuff. Like, that's all been very widely noted. So it's for me anyway, like stuff I know that's been very widely noted that I know a lot of. I don't know a lot about, but I know of anyway. Mostly mining and logging. I mean, railroads were there, just not connected. Well, you know what I mean, though. I mean, he said 3, 4, even 5 decades before the Civil War. So, I mean, you're talking like 1820s, 1830s, right? Would that be right? Like, the railroad was there in the 1820s and 1830s? Is that right, Bone? Was it there that long ago? I mean, I guess it could have been. I don't know. Again, I told you I don't know a lot about it, but I know of it. I just don't know the exact times of when things happened. But this sounds like a really cool era to be in the Wild West, because it's very early in the Wild West movement, apparently. So that's kind of cool.
So it's like we are more like in Oregon Trail and not in Red Dead Redemption area. So, and that makes it really, really interesting, because the entire social.
So there you go. All right, so railroads, early 1800s. All right, so he said it's more like we're in the Oregon Trail era than we are the Red Dead Redemption era, right? Because Red Dead Redemption happened after the Civil War. So, you know, if you really consider how early we are in the game, in the time period, it makes it a really cool take, because we haven't seen a Wild West game that happens this early in the Wild West. Not something that's playable and you can build in, that, to my knowledge. Not something like the Dynasty series, anyway.
Economic structures have not existed yet. So you have, of course, settlers and pioneers, and some are trying to survive as
1828 was the first railroad in the U.S. Okay, so think about that. He's talking this happens around 1820 to 1830. And if 1828 was the first railroad in the U.S., I doubt it was out in the middle of Arizona, right? So that's kind of where all this is taking place, is between like Nevada, like Eastern California, Texas, in that range, you know, between those areas. So to really consider the fact that if 1828 was the first railroad, and this is happening somewhere around the 1820s, 1830s, we shouldn't see a railroad at all on this map, period. So if you were hoping for railroads, I don't think we're going to get them if they stay time like era specific, because that's what it sounds like this guy's talking about. Is he knows the history, he knows the knowledge of when things kind of started taking place in the Wild West, so it should be really cool.
Farmers, others go into the mines and hope to find silver. Gold was later, but they hope to find silver. And it's like, but there is not this regulated structure. And when we wrote the story, I had a few times I had to actually take a step back and stop writing what I wanted to write, because I don't want to spoil the story. And I don't want to spoil anything the team has written with those glorious side quest characters who are super unique and quirky and interesting and sometimes really menacing. But I had situations where I was like, okay, if I would write now the character, a friend of the main character, would probably in this situation ride to the next larger city and get the marshal, you know, like the state marshal. And then you realize, oh no, in this era there are no marshals, there isn't even a state. It's
right. So yeah, this is very, very early on. Yeah, Dark, this is way before that too. That's what I'm saying. Like, and Nath said Nevada, Arizona, California sounds like the map area. It kind of does, yeah. It kind of does. I think you're right. So, I mean, I know there's like prairie areas there. And he even said earlier from like really far west Texas to like Western California mountain line, right? So that's kind of the areas taking place in is, the states that we call Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico today would be whatever territory this is. It's not even a state, like he just said. So 1799 was the first gold rush. That's true, and he did just say they're out here looking for silver. They're not even looking for gold because that came a little bit later. So I mean, this might be like around 1800.
Just a territory on a map. So yeah, it's like we basically have an almost empty white canvas, and I have to clarify, I didn't write the game. An entire writer's room of writers wrote the game. And we had this canvas where we could do almost anything, because this area is not as good documented, and it was much more, survival of the fittest and luckiest.
That's pretty cool. So he's saying basically that there was a team of writers and it was just a blank canvas because there's not a whole lot documented from that time period. So that's great. And I mean, from really early people being out, just average people, because that's who you got to think about. Who we're playing in the game is not some government official. It's not somebody really higher up. It's literally just the average person is who we're playing. So a lot of that didn't get documented in the early days. People told stories about it, but we don't know how true it is. So they do have kind of the Great Silver Rush is 1859. When was the gold rush? He said the gold rush came later, though. So that's kind of an odd. Kind of an odd timeline he gave us, because I thought the gold rush was, 1799 was the first gold rush. The silver rush is 1859. But he said we're out here looking for silver, which I find even stranger. And I don't know why that would be. But either way, I like the fact, though, that they kind of had this blank canvas to kind of write the game around. It's kind of neat.
Your published books are mostly rooted in science fiction. So what drove you to Wild West Dynasty? Or are cowboys actually not that far away from space operas, let's say? I mean, there is the term space cowboys.
Okay, space cowboys are a thing. And it's like Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. Very old, the elder of us still remember.
I've seen The Last Starfighter many times. Space cowboys are a thing. Gotta go pick up the kiddos. All right, Dark, have a good one, buddy.
You have Cowboy Bebop, which had a very strong Wild West flair. The best TV show ever produced, Firefly, is basically a space western. It's like, you can take the sky from me, they ride on horsebacks, they have revolvers. It's a western. It's a space western, but it's a western with like 15 other layers. So yeah, there is a connection. I would say the characters, the archetypes of characters, I know some writers work with Jungian characters, and I think that Jung and Freud should be left in the history. But now it's the psychologist speaking and not the writer. But the point is, it's like you can have the same archetype and they work in a Wild West scenario. They work in a futuristic scenario. They work in Star Wars, which is kind of space fantasy, whatever we call it. And for all of those who have played Medieval Dynasty before, which is actually a good example, where you have the Unigost character, which is like a mixture of mayor, shady caretaker, oligarch, an early prototype oligarch, that works in every single scenario. I cannot come up with a single scenario where you don't have a place for a character like that. And actually we have one of those characters in our game too.
So we're going to get the shady kind of overseer kind of guy too. He just said we have one of those characters in our game too. What's up, Jeremy? How's it going, buddy?
What was your biggest challenge during the writing process for Wild West Dynasty?
So the biggest challenge was actually a positive one when I was introduced to the existing story writing team, which was more working on the side quests. And they did not only write stories, but actually design quests and write the stories around them. And I went through the pages of documentation, through the spreadsheets with all the dialogues. I realized that I have to swallow my pride and have to swallow my ego, because that material was already so well written and so well designed that I could not interfere with it. It was more on the contrary. I had to write the main story as a, okay, that's the railroading bit that the player can choose to follow or not, and it needs to be thrilling. But actually, from time to time, I have to poke the player at all those crazy side quests and characters, because otherwise they miss out on that. So, and to make sure that the player has enough time to experience the whole world with all its characters and interactions, I think that was the biggest challenge.
So that's pretty cool. So he's talking about writing the side quests and stuff. But the like all of it was so well documented that it was, you know, it was kind of hard not to just stay with it.
When you look back at the writing process that you experienced with the team around you, I mean, it is in early access, the story is not finished yet, it will continue. What are you particularly proud of in this story or with these characters?
It's a good question. Let me look into my story writing document. So what I think was like really,
like, that took him a minute. He was like, hang on, let me look.
Really well.
Let me look and see.
The entire experience now in the early access, where I can say that's finished. There's probably some polishing and typos and whatever, but early access part is finished. It's the balance between serious and playful, and I'm not only talking about like slight irony. There are really some really good jokes in there with different layers. There are some references at pop culture in the widest sense. There are some wordplays that only a few players will get, but they are amazing. And on the other hand, you have like this really emotional, dark story with personal loss and yeah, I cannot tell you more without spoilers. That's like, yeah. But it's a very dramatic story that really gives you a grim thirst for, I wouldn't even say revenge, it's like thirst for justice and finding out what's going on, because you feel screwed over by fate in the end, and then you try to get to the bottom of things.
So the story is what he just said. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so you're done wrong somehow. What's up, Chavez? How's it going, buddy? You're wronged in some way, and you're out to seek justice. He said vengeance, and then he said justice. But basically, you've just gotten screwed, and you know, by just fate in general, bad things happened. And all that just kind of reminds me of Red Dead 1, honestly. Like, it just kind of feels that way. But I mean, that's pretty much any storyline. Like, when you have a protagonist and an antagonist, you know, the protagonist is screwed over in the beginning, and then he's out for not vengeance, and not revenge, but justice in some way, so they can have closure on their own merit. You know, that's kind of it's kind of how every story is. So I don't think it's so much that. Nas said even the graphics seem a little lackluster right now. Even though the graphics seem a little lackluster right now, I think there are going to be some awesome viewpoints in the game, as long as they have the freedom to reach certain areas. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think you're right. I think there's going to be a lot of really good places to get a good visual screenshot and stuff from. And the one thing I like about the toplets kind of having direction over things is they have done really well about including customizations in Medieval Dynasty. Getting RenderCube to do that. So I hope they have the same thing here, where you can have many different customizations to how long your seasons are, that kind of stuff. I hope all that's here too. And that would give you even more chance to explore and do things right before the season change. Or if you find a really cool spot in the wintertime you want to go back and visit, but it takes you a full in-game day to get there, at least, you know, you'll have time to get there.
So you can follow that, and you have to follow it eventually. But on the side you find, wait until you get to the lumberjacks camp. and listen to their dialogues carefully, because that's amazing. I didn't write them, but it's amazing. So there is.
So there's a lumberjack camp, and he just said the dialogue for that is amazing. He didn't write it, but whoever wrote it did a good job apparently. So apparently there's gonna be NPCs that actually have different camps and stuff in the game too. You're gonna have to go visit. So there's a lumberjack camp, because he said the lumberjacks dialogue is amazing. So
Yeah,
kind of cool.
I think it's the balance of humor and seriousness that's really well made.
All right. Thank you very, very much for your insights into the story writing process for Wild West Dynasty. It was an immense pleasure.
All right, so that was Ivan for some of the writers. He's worked on a lot of games. He's done a great job, apparently, on a lot of stuff because he worked on several. And he's been in the gaming industry for a very long time. He worked on Anno. He worked on the Guild 1. So he's been around a long time in the gaming industry. He knows what he's doing. A lot of good insight there for kind of how the story, kind of some background on why the story is what it is. We don't know what the story is yet because he didn't leak anything, but he gave us some background on why he and the writers team kind of did what they did with what we're going to end up seeing at some point. And the story's not finished. Like he said, it's going to be in early access. So they'll finish it as they go, just kind of like they did Medieval Dynasty, if I had to guess. So, will there be a gunfight point of view? I have no idea, Chavez. We haven't gotten that information. We did see in the trailer, in one of the trailers, that the there was a gunshot, and then your character, I guess, it's like blood on their face and their eyes are closing, and the other guy's walking away. So I don't know. He did say there were going to be bandits and outlaws and groups of other people. I'm guessing it's going to be like cowboy gangs, like outlaw gangs and stuff too. So that's going to be kind of cool if it is. Let's jump on to the next video. We are an hour and a half in. Holy crap. So this is the official trailer. This released 4 days ago.
It's a dangerous place.
This is the newest one. This is not in-game play at all.
They said the West is a dangerous place.
Ooh. All right,
Building
then.
a life out there should be impossible, they said.
Bar fight or saloon fight. All right, so in this one shot, several people ask, "Are we're gonna have saloon fights?" There's your saloon fighter. We're gonna be able to play poker. There's your poker in this one shot. What is also in the saloon most of the time upstairs? We don't know if that's there yet,
No
though.
matter what you do, you cannot escape
Bank robbery.
danger and death. You know what my advice is? To hell with it. Write your own story.
That's right. Wife and kid. The trailers don't count because they don't show gameplay. That is true, yes. They don't show you what the game is going to look like, but typically they're not going to include things in the trailer. I say that knowing full well we're about to talk about a game that we may not even get. I hope the day before it comes out, and I hope it looks as good as the official trailer. Although there have been several people that have picked, just search the day before if you want to know more about it. We'll talk about it in a minute. But typically, it doesn't show stuff in the trailer that doesn't actually happen in the game. It may not look as good. It's not going to be the same graphics, but I assume there's going to be poker. They put it in the trailer. I assume there's going to be a random saloon brawl or something at some point. It happens in the trailer, right? I wouldn't think they would just throw that in there and it not actually happen at some point.
Your story.
Me being hopeful, maybe, but I hope they don't.
Your world. Your rules.
Your world, your
West
rules.
Dynasty.
Wish list now. Top Blitz and Moon Punch Studio. That is it for
Is it?
that is it for Wild West Dynasty right there. Bud said even the Moon Punch Studios website only lists Wild West Dynasty copyright, and then Bone said Moon Punch Studio equals Toplit subsidiary. I don't know that, but I do know that Moon Punch Studio is new. They're very new. We do know the location. You can find the location of the company, but we don't know anything about them. We don't know if they've helped develop, who they've worked with, any other games. I have no idea. So the music sounds like MD Composers, which is a thumbs up for me. So there is a video for Sengoku Dynasty, which we'll be doing another Talking Tuesday on it probably next month. It depends on when it gets a release date. It says Q2, so it depends on when it gets a release date. When the next Talking Tuesday will be on Sengoku Dynasty, and then whatever other random stuff we come up with then. But I'm pretty sure it's the same composer as MD and Sengoku. The lady that's doing Sengoku Dynasties is very, very. I love the music for Sengoku Dynasty. There's actually just a video about the composer and the music. So for Sengoku, we'll check that out later. But let me know what you guys think about Wild West Dynasty down below. I want to hear all the tinfoil hat, crazy aliens coming to the Wild West conspiracy theories you can come up with. Let me know in the comments below. You guys in chat here, do the same. Let me know. I want to hear some thoughts on the game, what you think about the graphics so far. Let's talk about it for a minute, because that's the whole point. Lumberjack's reskin? I don't think it's going to be a Lumberjack reskin. I think it's going to be built on a newer engine than that. And I say that with full hopes that it will be built on a newer engine. I don't know what Medieval Dynasty engine is built on. Gargoyle will probably know. Somebody will probably know, but I don't know what it'll be built on. But yeah, let me know some thoughts in the comments here. Let's talk about it. I'm curious. I want to know what you guys think on what the game's actually going to offer. Medieval Dynasty is UE4. Okay, so if this is built on UE4, then something is just not finished, right? Because Medieval Dynasty looks really good. This looked very unfinished. So if it's UE4, then they just haven't polished the game up and stuff for the in-game footage we saw, which is fine, because that in-game footage was released, what, 2 months ago, and that was probably a 4-month-old footage or something. So I mean, like, I don't really have an issue with them cleaning it up as they go too. So as long as I can play it from your Amiga or Tandy, I'm good. What in the world are those? Oh, I don't know if they have. I don't know if they're releasing it on 70s style gaming stuff. Different assets. Yeah, it's gonna be different assets. It looks like, and it looks like some of it's gonna be reskinned too. But most of it's gonna be different assets altogether. It looks like. So the horses are probably a reskin. The horse mechanics and stuff looked pretty similar to Medieval Dynasty, but again, you know, what's up, Marion? How's it going? Again, though, I don't know. You know, I have no idea. I have no clue. So, Wild West Dynasty is using UE4 as well. Yeah, so hopefully it'll look... I mean, it should look as good, honestly. Can I play it on my TRS-80? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be good for that at all. Not at all. But yeah, I mean, leave some thoughts, guys. I want to see them down below in the comments. I want to know people's thoughts on this and what your take is, and what you hope to get out of the game. Again, we got some good questions answered in that Q&A, and then again with one of the writers for the game. So we got some good stuff answered there. I'm gonna hit the outhouse real quick, and then we're gonna do finish up any other comments you guys have. Drop them while I'm gone. I'll be right back. In live chat, we'll finish up this conversation. We'll move on to the day before. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Okay. So any other thoughts on it? Any other thoughts? I'm curious. Anybody have anything else they want to add that they hope turns out for Wild West Dynasty? I think it's going to be a great game. Don't let my negativity in my comments dissuade you. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to come out slightly unpolished because it's going to be early access, and then they're going to polish it just like they did Medieval Dynasty. Medieval Dynasty looked great when it came out. Honestly, it was the best looking of the Dynasty games that came out, and they really set a bar pretty high for the Dynasty series with Wild West Dynasty, and I think Wild West Dynasty is probably going to hold to that standard within comparison. If you compare Wild West Dynasty to any other big AAA title, then you're going to be disappointed, right? I mean, you cannot compare that to Red Dead 1 or Red Dead 2 at all. Red Dead 1 might be the best game I've ever played. People say Red Dead 2 is, but I don't know. I never finished Red Dead 2. So, but I finished Red Dead 1, and I finished all the DLC and all the add-ons and everything else, and it was a brilliantly done game. I loved every second of it. But I don't think you can compare Wild West Dynasty to Red Dead. Just don't. Just don't. Don't do it because you're going to be disappointed if you do. I might put it next to Wild West Dynasty for comparison because it's toplets. It's the same story. It's a Dynasty series game, and only for gameplay mechanic and graphics, right? Only for those two because the story is going to be different. It's a different setting. It's a whole different era. It's 600 or 800 years later. So, you know, what Medieval Dynasty happened around 1000 AD. This is around 1800-ish, 1800 somewhere, 1820, 1800 somewhere around there. You can put those next to each other and kind of look at the graphics, the cleanliness of the game, and kind of the gameplay mechanics. Are they clunky? The UI build, stuff like that. I would compare those two together, but not to another Wild West game. No. Red Dead 1 was solid. Yeah, I think so. Gabe said, finish Red Dead 2. Finish it. I'll have to finish it at some point. I'll have to. Reel to reel. I don't know if you can play it on reel to reel. That'd be weird. I think it'd be weird. I think the building might be a little more complex in Medieval Dynasty than Nass said. I think you're right. Honestly, the way it looks is they're talking about supply lines and production chains or supply chains and production line, however you said it. They're talking about all that, and that's a lot, dude. That's a lot. So hopefully that's gonna be really good. I hope the buildings are more complex. I hope there's supply lines and supply chains, production chains, or whatever, are more physical than they are in inventory, like they are for Medieval Dynasty. You know what I mean. I hope it's a more physical supply chain where you actually have to have one of your people in your town be the delivery person for the wagon. They can actually get stuff and bring it back. Like, I think that'd be very cool. So that's just me. But either way, leave your thoughts down below in the comments section about Wild West Dynasty. I want to hear them. And let's move to let me find I've got a button over here somewhere. Display, I think that one. There we go. Let's move to this here. This is the day before. And I'm going to bring up oh, you know what we didn't do? Real quick, I guess we could do this. This is the Wild West Dynasty Steam page. So cowboys, settlers, and gunslingers, build your own ranch, grow it into a settlement, and soon more settlers will join you in your quest for happiness and prosperity. Will you manage to build a Wild West Dynasty, or will you end up in the gallows? That's a good question. But there's lots of good pictures here. I just kind of want to flip through these because they're still images. So so you can see right there, you have a health bar, probably water, food, stamina, whatever that is on the side there. There's actually a UI up in the top corner of that. I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. In the top left corner, it says 8C, 13C, 2C, so it looks like a daily average maybe. And then it looks like you have a compass in the top of the map there, so that's kind of neat too. Let's move on to the building. So there you go. It tells you how many boards you need, so very Medieval Dynasty-ish right there. You can go to the next module, the previous module, accept or cancel. And then it tells you wall and then woods. It tells you what you need and that kind of stuff. Oh, down on the bottom right-hand corner, it says tab for inventory, B to build, and then you have a hammer. Again, very Medieval Dynasty-ish setup there. What I do like is the terrain. I love this kind of terrain right here. I think it's going to be really great. So there's a busted wagon and a horse, or is that your wagon and a horse? That's your campfire, obviously, and a horse, so I don't know. I guess we'll see, though. It looks like this is the start of the town, and that building looks either damaged or not finished. So I don't know what this is going to be, but pretty neat nonetheless. The bridges, look at that bridge. You guys jumping across that? I'd jump right across it. I think it'd be fun. The trees and stuff look really good. So this is... this looks like a more finished town here because you got fences and barrels and wagons and hay bales and lanterns hanging from the stuff here. This looks like a more finished area here. I think this looks really good, though. In my opinion, anyway. Mining gold, mining silver. So mining silver. This is more along the kind of the pre-rush, post-rush, because there was 2 different gold rushes, and then there was a silver rush somewhere in there. So this is around. He said it's more going to be focused on mining for silver than it is anything. So I guess we're going to be mining silver. Rock looked like Pikachu. It did, yeah. And obviously we're going to be growing pumpkins, and it looks like there's some corn over there, maize, whatever. I like the scarecrow. Looks really good. The horse area looks great. The little stable area right there looks really nice. Looks like a training area for horses if you're breaking horses or whatever. So it looks pretty good, though. There's some goats. Just some more terrain photos. So this was the shot that they showed you when they said you could bounty hunt. So I'm guessing that's somebody we're trying to pick up there. But those graphics, that's in-game graphics. That looks pretty good. Again, I think it could be more polished as they go, but that looks pretty good to me. So hopefully it turns out real well. And look at that. That looks really good too. If that's us looking into a window, that looks really good. In my opinion. So yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be absolutely fine. Let's check out, I would go to Steam and check out the day before, but there is no day before page. So we're going to check out the video here. I'm just going to flip through some of this because I don't have time to watch the whole thing and finish up today, but we're gonna flip through this. But that's Wild West Dynasty. Again, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Do you have it wish listed? Are you going to pick it up? Or are you going to wait? Are you going to pick it up and play it when it comes out? Or are you going to wait a little while, give it a couple months for them to polish some of the stuff up? I'm going to be playing it day 1, so if you want to come back and watch some gameplay, come on. But either way, let's move on over to the day before. This is a lot of people call it like a DayZ ripoff and all kinds of stuff. It's a zombie-based game. It is no longer on Steam. The day before has had some legal issues with the name. I'm not sure what's going on with that. There's lots of content creators, a lot of big content creators talking about this out there and giving their thoughts on it and input, that kind of stuff. There's been a lot of controversy. It was supposed to come out last year. It got postponed. Then it was supposed to come out in January. It got pushed back to March, and now it's off of Steam completely. So I don't know what's going on with it. But here's some gameplay footage. Supposed to be gameplay footage. We shall see, because I don't think this is actual gameplay footage. I'm gonna be honest with you. This almost, if you really, so somebody pointed this out in one of the videos. Big Fry TV, his link's down below. I recommend checking his channel out. He's done a lot of breakdowns on this over the last year as they've released footage. I really love the way that looks, though. If this is actual footage, you can go all the way into the city and play, and I think that's awesome. Like, all the way in. Just run all the way into the city. I don't know if you can go in every house. It's a multiplayer. It's an MMO. It's much like DayZ is. But it's called the day before, so I'm guessing it's like opening scene starts out the day before the outbreak or something. I'm not real sure, but I like the art style and stuff. If this is actual gameplay footage, I like this. I think it looks really good. Another one I'm waiting on comes out in June. I was actually a backer of it. It's called Dead Matter, and that's a very in-depth survival zombie type game. Probably one of the only zombie games I've been excited for. Is that one. We'll talk about that one again later too, but so this is actual gameplay footage. You can go in the houses. I was waiting on them to run down the street and then go in the house here and search through, because you can search through a lot of the cupboards and stuff, I think. Yeah, see, here you go. Here's a workbench. You can go in and make stuff. You can repair, upgrade, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if this music is copyrighted or not, so let's just skip past this. Yeah, so what we should just do is checking below the sink. Yeah, checking below the sink. You can search cabinets and cupboards. The UI is very, very DayZ looking to me. Like, that's very DayZ Battle Royale, player, what is it? Player Unknown's Battle Royale, whatever it is. PUBG, yeah. Battlegrounds, that's what it is. Battle Royale, but Battlegrounds. It's very DayZ looking to me. There's some gameplay of the zombies themselves. Yeah, so I mean, it's very cool looking, but I just don't know, man. I don't know. I want to hear people's thoughts on the day before. If you've been keeping up with it, leave your thoughts down below about this, because I'm curious on whether or not you think this game actually is coming out anytime soon or not. But this is kind of dark. They're getting into the city now. You can see. I'll let that kind of go for a second. They're getting kind of into the city here. There's stuff everywhere. Cars are just kind of everywhere. Tanks and stuff in the road. Checkpoints and stuff were set up at some point. They failed, apparently. There's an FCC. Fried crispy chicken. Let's jump on down here to kind of the end of the video. You can see quarantine areas and stuff already set up. Zombies kind of wandering around. I like that it's not just zombie swarms, right? Like, a lot of it is, you find little groups and stuff. It's not just big hordes of it, right?
Please find a shelter or another safe place. All citizens are strongly urged to remain calm. All citizens
Message playing on loop, the stuff in the inventory. I mean, getting stuff out of the coolers and stuff there too. Again, it's very neat. That alerted. You can even hear the zombies, like, on the next place over. You can hear them start growling as they hear the gunshots. And I'm assuming that would be the case. You would set off a lot of stuff. Still doesn't show what the gameplay loop is. Are there quests or what? It feels kind of empty. So, Tim, it's supposed to be like DayZ, right? It's supposed to be like an open world MMO, single server, 100 people on there. With zombies, and then you just go find loot and stuff. That's my understanding of what it is. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be something like DayZ, but you're right. No, it feels kind of empty. People have pointed this out in videos. This feels like it's a pre-built area just for this 10 minutes of gameplay footage. Because in the other that was supposed to be gameplay, I'm using air quotes, that was supposed to be gameplay footage was kind of this same area. And that's kind of what this feels like. It feels like just kind of a pre-built, pre-programmed area to be this. And somebody said, well, why would a company, you know, hype this game up and build it up only to keep delaying the release? Well, underneath some of their videos that they've put out for this game, kind of their trailers and talking about it or whatever, they link to other stuff, other projects they're working on. And one of the videos I was watching, the guy said that's why they would do it. While they may spend a lot of money pre-programming these and kind of marketing this a little bit, this is getting way more hype than their other projects they're actually making money from. So they do this and then put the link down below and have you go check that out instead, right? And I hope that's not the case, and I'm not accusing them of it. Allegedly, that's what people are saying that could be happening. I'm not accusing them of it, and I hope we get this game because it really does look good. But there are a lot of people that have gone through and found exact screenplay of other games, and this one, right? The Last of Us was one of them. Down an alleyway. It's dark, flashlight flicker, shooting at somebody. The exact same setting in both games. There are assets in this game that look identical to stuff in DayZ or in some other game. And I'm not saying they copied them, but there are people pointing out they look very similar. So I hope that's not the case, and I hope we get a good game out of this, but I don't know. You know, I don't know. It got pulled from Steam. They're going through some legal troubles with the name of the game right now. So hopefully. But yeah, Tim, as far as I know, it's supposed to be just an open world. You spawn in, you're fresh, you have nothing. If you've never played DayZ Standalone or DayZ the mod from back in Arma 2 days, if you've never played those, basically you spawn in, you have nothing, you have to find gear and gear up, and if you get killed, somebody else probably loots all your gear. And that's probably what this is going to be. I'm open, if this game actually comes out, I'm open to putting a server up. If Nitrado gets the servers, I'm open to putting them on there. Putting one on there for the community to play on, because I would love to have a game like this on a controlled server where I can actually go play and enjoy myself. The company structure for the dev is also weird. I haven't looked into that yet, Tim, but I've watched a lot of people talk about just the gameplay and kind of, you know, the comparisons of the two and stuff. So, but this is fantastic. YouTube, the official trailer, it came out 4 days ago. So if you want to watch the whole 10 minutes of gameplay, there's a link down below to this video and to Fantastic's YouTube channel. So go check it out. Read the comments because there is some comedy gold of people just bashing this company down in the comments. Now, again, I'm not bashing them. I hope they give us a good game. I really do. But I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with it. It is yet to be seen. So maybe soon we'll get something out of it. Let's jump over to again, if you have any comments on the day before, or there's, you know, some videos I desperately need to see, leave some comments down below in the comment section. I'd be happy to look at it. They're all paid volunteers. That's so weird. Yeah, and if you're not into zombie games, no problem. You know, don't worry about it. But this is just because this game was number 2 wishlisted on Steam for a long time. And then it got delayed, and then it got delayed again, and then had some legal trouble, and then it got pulled off Steam recently, and all this has happened in like the last 2 or 3 months. So there's a lot happening. But if we do get the day before game, I would love to put a server up for the community, and that's the server I would be playing on and enjoying myself probably one day a week, and just something to play for a couple hours, maybe on a Saturday or something, get on and play and just have a good time. On a community-based server where we only do PvP like once a month or something. I think that'd be kind of fun. So you've played a few games like that, 7 Days, etc. Yeah, the only one I've really played is DayZ, like actually played is DayZ, and that was very early on. So I don't even, like, it looks totally different now from the way it did. So the video of the guy playing the game where you can see his hands moving to prove the game is playable is also interesting PR move. It very much so, because it doesn't look like the keystrokes he's making actually line up with what's going on screen either. So, Bushcraft Flying coming out. Not that I know of, Chavez. They haven't posted anything on Twitter in like a year and a half. There's been nothing from them. I haven't found anything on them. I went and looked around on all the Facebook pages and everything. Couldn't find anything. So, yeah, it's an interesting PR move, the way they do a lot of stuff for this. The fact that they're all paid volunteers is kind of strange, you know? It's kind of weird too. But if you're interested in the day before, and there's some stuff I need to be watching to catch up on what's going on with it, let me know down in the comments. That'd be appreciated. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this too, if you've been keeping up with it. If you haven't, then don't worry about it, like I said, which is why we covered this last. This is actually not the last thing we're going to talk about. The last thing we're going to talk about is actually for content creators. If you use OBS Studio, there is something you're going to want to use. It is called Vertical. It is called Vertical, Aitum Vertical plugin for OBS 29 plus. You do have to be updated to OBS 29 or higher. But basically, it gives you this great vertical layout here for your stuff, and it's really fantastic. It's a free download. You can try Aitum for 30 days for free. It's $4.99 a month. But this plugin is absolutely free. It's not a free trial or anything. It is absolutely free. I'm using it right now. I'm not actually streaming anywhere else because I don't have TikTok installed on anything, and I never will. And I don't care what you say or how stupid you think I am. I will not install TikTok on anything I own. But I do YouTube Shorts, and having this vertical plugin, I have a backtrack button that if something happens in the last whatever amount of minutes I want, I can just hit that button and it will save that last 4 minutes into a folder without me having to constantly record, and it is fantastic. So keep that in mind. If you don't stream to TikTok or Instagram, but you just want it to make YouTube Shorts, you can also program it in different ways, and we're going to watch Harris Heller's video, a little bit of this here, to show you this part of it. I skipped the rest of the video. I'm starting it right here. So this is where him telling you to go do the same thing. For me, the weirdest part is how the dev could have missed the copywriting. They couldn't have. Big Fry actually broke down when the copyrights were made and when they got announced and all that kind of stuff. There's no way they could have. The fact that they didn't go ahead and copyright the name is silly to me too. So I don't think they could have missed it. But this is Harris Heller talking about
Download it right from Aitum.tv. I'll put a link to it in the description.
There's
It's
a
like
link down in the
two-click
description as well here.
install. That was imperative to me. This needed to be easy to set up. And now that we have it installed and OBS is open, you can see we have 2 canvases now.
This is great right here.
Regular streaming stuff, and now we have a vertical one. You can see on the left side I have my regular scenes and my regular sources, and on the right side I have my vertical scenes and my vertical sources.
Note that because I keep mine squished very small, my regular scenes are on top and my vertical scenes are below those. I'm trying to get my hands here. But I have 2 different scene sources and I have 2 different alignments for each, and he's about to tell you that too.
You can move these wherever you want. You can even move the canvas
right
next to my regular stuff.
You can move your stuff all over the
camera,
place.
and then we have a gameplay scene. With that
all right, so
now,
regular.
Let's set up our vertical scenes. The first
Now,
thing I'm
this
going
is
to
the
do
cool
is I'm going to stretch it out to be the full screen, and then a shortcut here. Just go to transform center horizontally. Perfect.
So it automatically records in a shorts format. So if you're a content creator and you're looking to make shorts for YouTube, and you are recording and you don't want to record and then go back and edit it down and do all that kind of stuff, you can literally take your gameplay and just center it on that vertical screen right there, which is what I do when I'm streaming and when I'm recording. I literally have that vertical set up just for the center of the screen there. And if something happens, I just hit that backtrack button, and I've got it set to capture 4 minutes back. It takes that 4 minutes and throws it in a separate folder from my regular recordings. That way I can go back into that folder and pull them out and then edit them, but they're already in a 9:16 format. So it's actually really great.
Chatting scene. I think just to be safe, I'm also going to lock it so I don't accidentally click and drag and move this thing.
Yeah, that's a
then
must.
Then we're going to add a vertical. We got our camera here for the support pokes. Again, let's center this. Let's add our camera, then we'll figure out exactly.
So there's
the size that we
you
want.
see the
Let's
difference
add
there. There's your
our
gameplay
camera here,
and then your camera,
which is definitely too large. I think I want this to go top center though, and then let's put the gameplay on top, and then we'll add our alert. Let's put the alerts.
So there you go.
Right underneath my camera.
It's actually
now,
such a great tool to have.
Horizontally, like short. Now we could get more creative with this, but I think this will work for now.
Yeah, it's actually that's what it looks like basically. It's a great feature to have. If you're a content creator. And I just thought, I know there are a lot of people in my community that also make content, or they stream, or they make YouTube videos, or whatever, maybe make Instagram videos. If you want to do it from your computer, the Aitum Vertical plugin is free right there. It is free. Go download it. It is an absolute must for me now that I have it. It is an absolute must. I have to have this to make my time worth making shorts and stuff, because literally just boom, captured it, cool. Oh, 10 minutes later, something else crazy happens. Something crazy happens. Boom, backtrack button. You got it again. Like, it's just such a good feature to have. It really is. But that's going to do it for today. We have covered a lot of different topics. If you have any thoughts on any of this stuff, please do let me know down in the comments below. If you're looking forward to Wild West Dynasty, let me know what parts you're looking forward to. How's your optimism on the game itself? Do you think it's going to be good? Do you think it's going to be meh? Are you just going to wait and see? You're going to wait and watch somebody play it? Or are you going to wait for a while before it comes out, before you buy it? Let me know your thoughts the day before. If you have any thoughts on the day before, leave them down in the comments, because I'm all for listening to more people's comments on it. There's a lot of controversy going on around the game. There's a lot of questions. People think it's fake. I don't know. Leave some comments down below and let me know in the comments section. Are you a content creator? Have you ever heard of Vertical? Do you know what Aitum what else that Aitum provides for content creators? If you don't, there's a link down below. Again, I'm not promoted. This is not a sponsored stream. I'm not partnered with any of these people. I just think that the Vertical plugin can help so many content creators that it needs to be mentioned, and that's why I did it. It's not a paid sponsorship or anything. I just want people to know about it, because I know there's a lot of people in this community that are also content creators themselves. So if you don't have the Vertical plugin, there's a link down below to Aitum. Just scroll down, find the Vertical plugin, and download it. It's free. You install it, update your OBS to OBS 29, and then restart OBS, and it's just there. That's it. And you set up your scenes just like you would anything else, but you can set them vertically, like Harris Heller showed in the video there. So that's going to do it for today, though. Check out all the links down below in the description. All of my other links, too. I have 3 YouTube channels and a Twitch channel, and I'll be back on Twitch in about an hour over on Iowa Plainsview Farm Sim. So come hang out with me for some Farm Sim if you want to. If not, cool. I understand. And then go check out my Pixel Deuce Plays channel. We're uploading on Thursdays and Sundays. Playing Dinkum currently. I have some other games picked out that I'm going to be playing once they release. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all next time. Later, folks.